Mahmoud is his name. What? You shouldn't be fighting with us. You know if they kill you, it's a defeat for this ummah. We may be down, and we may be nothing without you. He looked at him. He said, you guys have no... He's talking to scholars. He only kept around in scholars, not bums. He looked around and said, you guys got no manners with Allah? You guys got no manners with Allah? He said, why? He said, who's Mahmoud? Who's Mahmoud? Who's Nuriddeen? How did Allah save Islam before Nuriddeen? He will save it without Nuriddeen. Nuriddeen is nothing. Look how humble he was to Allah. When he fought battles, his strength was that his speed on a horse when they attacked him. They attacked him one time when he was in a, back then, if you were in my seerah classes, how was the battle? Someone tell me from my seerah classes, all the battles we took, how were they? Geographically, how did they fight? Divided into 5 groups. Front, behind, right wing, left wing, center. Always like that. But when this man came, it was something in Arabic called al-qila'. If you've been to Arabic countries, they still have them today. These are high areas which are very secluded. And how you fight these battlefields is different than what I taught you in the old seerah during the Prophet and Sahaba's time in early ages. What happens? They're qila'. They're very high walls, and in them they live and eat and everything and station in there. If you want to go attack and take that country or take what's behind that down, you got to go and surround them. And you see who's the stronger. You start shooting with arrows, with minjaniq, which is cannons of fire, and you start shooting back and forth. You see who's one going to last. Sometimes you're in the qal'ah, the Muslims are in the qal'ah, and they get on the attack. You see who's stronger. One time he was in the attack in there, and they ran him, the Crusaders ran him out of there. It said that he was faster than the sword swinging. A sword was about to be swinging at him. He dodged it faster than the swing would hit him. And he left. He went back to his land in Halab. This was in Tarablus, by Lebanon. He went back, gathered his strength, and came back. Gathered what he could, and came back. He stood right in front of the qal'ah. Where exactly they may kill him? Nothing to shield him. They said, Nuriddeen, this is the wrong place to be. He said, what kind of talk is this? Wallahi al-azim, I will not be under a tree, under the shade of a tree, nor will I be hide behind the barrier until I revenge that which they did to us. Give me 1,000 heroic men, and I will not let nothing stand in front of me. 1,000, that was the famous quote. Give me 1,000 men, that's all I need. That's all he needs, 1,000 men who destroyed the Crusaders and the Romans and everything. Every time he go, I need 1,000 men under his command. When he went and he seen the world is coming at him, they seen he's a danger. He had to unite the world. I tell you, there was a small town. Every small town had a leader. So he sent letters to the leaders. Najmuddin, Nuriddin, Naimuddin, all these leaders, that's how they used to call themselves. They sent them letters. We're being attacked by the Crusaders, by the Romans, by the hypocrites of the leaders of Muslims who give them the land. We're being attacked by them, so you must help us. He sent a letter to the leader, letters to every khatib of the Jum'ah. Learn, because this is what you have to do one day, inshallah. Unite this ummah and send letters to those khatibs of the Jum'ah, and then mass send letters to the ummah outside. Every leader, what's he going to do? I got no choice but to join him. Some of them were saying, this man's a crazy man. His prayer and worshiping made him crazy. What's he doing? He wants the whole world? What's he trying to do? He's a crazy man. And they said, we have no choice. Because if we don't accept, one of them was Fakhruddin. He sat by his advisors. He got the letter. His advisor said, what do you think about this letter? He said, you join him. He said, no, I'm sitting. I'm going to be sitting. He said, the best decision. We're going to be sitting. No reason to fight. His prayer and his fasting got to his mind. They made him crazy. He's a crazy man now. Because he prayed and fasted and made dua a lot. The next morning, that same Fakhruddin is out in the street calling, Hayya ala al-jihad. He said, well, yesterday you were just telling us you. He said, you know what he said? He said, if I don't join him, what's history going to write about me? My people are going to rebel against me because this ummah needs leaders. This ummah needs leaders, and that's what we lack. We're like a ummah. We're like sheep who go in front of anyone who leads us. We need true leaders abiding by the Quran and the Sunnah, and everyone in himself has to be a leader as well. He said, what's history going to write about me? My people will rebel against me. Yes. And they joined him. Nearly everyone joined him, and he united most of the, as you're going to see at the end, how much he united. Small little town, Halab he started off with, nearly half of the Arabic world, or more than the Arabic world, belonged under his control. He united him. And then he went. Some of the stories that they had, one time he was fighting, and on the fight line next to him is a man. An arrow gets in his eye. And he looks at him. He says, brother, wallahi, the man is worried about his eye. He said, wallahi, if you know what Allah saves you of ajr, you'd wish the other one goes out as well. The man took the arrow out of his eye and went on and fighting. He went one time, and he has behind him a man, is the son of a leader called Na'im ad-Din was a hypocrite. He was a hypocrite. When the Crusaders came to him, he said, take my land, use it as you wish. Just like Saudi Arabia today, just like Kuwait today, just like they do today. Use our lands as you wish. Bases. Kill the Muslims. Hypocrites. These are like Na'im ad-Din. When he came, he gave them the land to the Crusaders, and he said, use it as you wish. They used it. Now, he's coming after them, Nuriddeen, to take it over. And you know who has behind him? After they won and took it over again, he looks behind him, and he has his son, the leader's son. He said, thank Allah, you have two blessings. We all have one blessing, you have two. Two blessings. One is that we're all victorious. That's our blessing. Your blessing is that man you saved from hellfire, your own father. You may be less than that what she's going through in hellfire. He took down 50 of the biggest qal'as, big strongholds. I mean, if you've been to the Arabic world, there still remains of them. They're so huge, so well mounted, so well secured. He took 50, one after the other, one after the other. When he got to some areas like Sham, he surrounded Sham. Sham is pretty big. And first time it didn't work out. Second time, didn't work out. Third time the leader said, I'm going to give up and work with you. I'll be side by side. And they went and fought the Romans together. He had from Turkey all the way to Yemen. From Turkey to Yemen. He started with Halab. He had from Turkey to Yemen. From Egypt to Iraq. From Egypt to Iraq, from Turkey to Yemen, under his control. Yes, this is the hero we're talking about today. But this is not only aspect of his life. Was he only a hero? Was he only knowledgeable? He spread justice throughout his country. He gave the scholars salaries just so they can sit and teach people. He took care of the orphans. He took care of the widows. Anything that was needed, he took. One time they told him, Nuriddeen, your army's getting big. You need to pay for it, you know. You need to finance it more. Otherwise the army's not going to work. He said, where do you want me to get the money from? There's no money. There's no wealth. They said, you know those people you pay? The orphans, the widows, the poor people? Just take a little bit of their salary and give it to your soldiers. He says, no way. No way, wallahi, that will never happen. Why? Look at this unique statement and tell me what it means. He said, their arrows never miss. They fight when I'm not there. Your arrows miss sometimes. Your arrows miss sometimes. And you only fight when I'm around you. What does he mean by this statement? What does he mean? Doesn't need a genius. He said, their arrows don't miss. They fight when I'm not around. Your arrows miss sometimes, and you only fight when I'm around you. He means their dua. Their arrows go to Allah. They make the dua. We become victorious because of their dua. He didn't just depend on his power. It was dua that made him what he is. Their dua. Their arrows to Allah. Ya Allah, give him victory. Ya Allah. You think those widows are not going to be making dua? Those orphans, those young people, the poor, the knowledgeable, they're going to make it. That's the arrows. He needed that more than he needed the physical strength. That's what he was talking about. He was a hero. He was a humble man. You know, as I was telling you, if you read in the history books, if you read one of their names, you know, if you want to read about Qutb-ud-Din or Majd-ud-Din, before you read his name, you read the victorious, the best, the one who the sun never seen like him, and you go on 7, 8 lines minimum. This is the minimum before you say his name. And you have to say a dua for him like that every Jum'ah. He changed all that. He said, just say, oh Allah, aid the poor servant of yours, Nuriddeen. Change all that. The poor servant of your Nuriddeen. You know, one time, look at this. We don't only depend on power. How many of you get up and make dua for Allah for your brothers? He was in Haram, an area called Haram, and he's surrounding a qal'ah, an area, stronghold. He's surrounded it. Look at this. And he's having trouble taking it over. What do you do? He's fighting and putting his forehead in the dirt and making dua, Ya Rab, Ya Rab. And they heard him saying, they didn't hear him saying actually, no one heard him saying. He was saying in his dua, and I'll tell you later how they found out. He was saying, Ya Rab, they're your slaves and they're your loyalty. They're the ones who loyal you. They're your slaves and they're your enemies. Ya Allah, Give victory of those slaves who are your loyalties over your slaves who are your enemies. Ya Allah, Ya Allah, don't destroy us for the sins of Nuriddeen. Ya Allah, Nuriddeen is a mere dog. He's being humble to Allah. Nuriddeen is a mere dog. Ya Allah, forgive us and don't take my ummah because of my personal sins. And they go. And he keeps making dua and crying and making dua. They're having trouble taking this harem down. You know what happens? The next day one of his advisor scholars says, I've seen a dream. And he goes to him. In the dream what he's seeing, wallah, these are authentic stories, not something made up. Authentic books. Ibn al-Athir writes a lot about him because this man's so unique. This man is forgotten of our minds, but we must revive his name. You know, he goes, the advisor, the scholar said, I seen in my dream, in what he had seen in his dream,